Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, Duff Dog and I are going to put some patch panels on a 1978 Chevrolet C10. So this C10 behind me is a 1978 two-wheel drive, small block, automatic, pretty bare bones. It's a Scottsdale package, so not the bottom of the line, not the top of the line, kind of in between. It's got the full-size hubcaps, it's got the white top, power steering, power brakes, V8 automatic are some of the options. But anyway, this thing is my old science teacher's. He bought it with 6,000 miles in 1978. So he's had this thing for 43 years. Dang. Just rolled 60,000 miles on it. And starting to get a little bit of cancer, so he wants to freshen her up. This thing looks pretty nice, and it is nice, but it has been repainted. I'm guessing sometime in the early 90s. You can see they added that rub rail strip in there from the later 80s, early 90s Silverados or square bodies, I guess. He did put some new center caps in there and the old full-size centers, some stickers in there. He had a hardware store too, so pretty much the only time he used this thing other than for a couple other odds and ends was he had a topper on it. He took it off just for this. First time the topper had been off in 20 years was to haul plants. Every spring he'd go get a load of plants, bring them back, take them to the shop, sell his plants to the little old ladies in the spring. Duff's not interested in plants. He does like barking at little old ladies that walk by. This thing didn't get used much in the winter though, and it was mostly inside in the winter. He'd put it in storage, but it did sit outside a lot of the other times of the year. So here's what we got to address. It's got the typical rocker panel rust. I mean, they're not bad, but there's some holes. This cab corner actually isn't too bad. The bottom of this door, it's getting to get a little bit of cancer in there. Starting to peek out here in front of the wheel, and then typical in the back. She's pretty soft. And the reason they get rusty back there is they got this inner piece here, kind of like an inner fender. Duff, you want some attention? And the dirt sits in there and rots them out. So we'll see if we can't maybe address that a little bit. And then the wheels also throw dirt up, and it sits between this inner piece and the bed floor. Rots those out. So got a couple patch panels for that for each side. Just noticed there was one dent in the tailgate. It looks like there's a whiskey dent back here from backing into something. Like I said, he owned a hardware store, so he liked touching up the paint on that bumper. Got a little overspray that last time, didn't he, Duff? Oh, yeah. And then it looks like he rolled on some paint on the top of the tailgate and the bed floor as well. But, I mean, look at those wheel wells. There's a couple little dents in there, but usually they're just beat to snot. Again, rusty behind the rear wheels on the box sides. The front is pretty good on this side. I think when they had it repainted, they added these stainless strips in there to prevent the rock chips. I think this cab corner was a little bit worse. Yeah, she's a little furry, ain't she, Duff? And then this rocker needs an outer and an inner. Well, this door is pretty good. Well, which side? The floor on one of these sides we got to address. I don't know. We'll pull the carpet up, take a look at that. But I mean, even the dash pad, it's got a couple little cracks in the middle. Usually they're blowed out. You gotta have the old man Ray-Bans, wannabes, C-Sports. AM radio, no AC, no tilt, no cruise. Yeah, she's pretty bare bones. It's got the sliding rear window, no headliner. Oh man, you're gonna check it out, Duff? This thing is way too good for you. If Al saw this, he'd probably chew us out. Little hole in the seat. Old man seat cover as well. No gun rack in the back. Al was not a hunter. Clips busted on the slide mirror window. That's pretty typical, but not a bad pickup. Doors shut nice for a square body. Front fenders are solid. It's got a couple of chips here and there. I think he did say he knocked the grill out at one time, so that's been replaced. It doesn't have the bow tie on there. And how many engine bays do you see like this? Still got the OG side post battery cables. The original jack and handle. The tube is still on the air cleaner. All the vacuum lines are still there. He just did umbrella seals on the valves, so that's new. I guess it does have cruise control. I bet it still flipping works. It doesn't have power brakes, but it does have power steering. Yeah. Still got the evap canister. What is this? Oh, I bet this was his spare keys. Were sitting right there. Not anymore. They're gone. Just flipping sanitary under there. She's a 305. All the HPs. Pretty good rig. What do you think, Duff? Where should we start? Pull that floor mat out. See which part of the floors we got replaced. We got boxes upon boxes of parts to replace on this thing. So good thing LMC had them. Some of them. Frickin' Rona ruined the aftermarket parts supply. You don't look enthused about this. I don't like bodywork either. So I guess we're gonna rip into this. This one's gonna be a little bit more in-depth than your average $119 paint job. We're not doing any painting here, we're just replacing panels, and then somebody else can do the painting because we don't know how to do that. We get curtains and sags and flow checks and all that other stuff when we paint things, so we'll leave that up to the professionals. Right, Duff? Let's get at it. Would you just look at this stack of replacement panels we got here?
Here, look at that. Oh, look at that.
Well, LMC pretty much pulled through. We got a couple of parts that are on back order because everybody's working on their garbage due to the Rona. So we got new floor pans left and right. These are the full replacements, not the drop-ins, because you couldn't find drop-ins. Got the front lower bed side on that side, both rear bed sides, floor pan, lower door skin. We're still waiting on the lower door inner. Rockers for both sides, cab corner for this side, and a cab brace. Apparently I figured I needed. I don't remember which side that is, but we got that too. So we got our work cut out for us. Duff has already laid claim to the new seat. Do you prefer the square body to the OBS styles? Yeah, I guess so. I was gonna say the carpet is out, but it's probably a vinyl floor mat. And it's good. It's real good. Oh, squishy, squishy. Ooh. Butterfinger. Yeah. So that's why we're fixing this side. There's the original blue. Oh, that's pretty close hue to that, I guess. This is the real good side though. There's the air gap there. Then they had this galvanized tin screwed over that. Then they had screws coming in from the bottom and from the top. And I think they sealed it on the side. I think that's a bicycle tube. Nice work on that, Wendell. And then a little expanding foam. All the finest bodywork tricks. Oh, is that fiberglass insulation? Oh yeah, sure is. So I think that's where we're gonna start, probably. So I got that bottom piece off. So you can see right through the floorboards now. You can see just how gone the cab support is. So we gotta patch that. And that is a lot of expanding foam. And then the inner rocker, she gone too. Gone, gone, gone. Great. So I don't know where to stop or to start. So we'll take that bolt out of the cab mount and Maybe try to sneak a cab mount in there. Well, we gotta get that out. And then we'll get the inner and outer rocker out of there. It's gonna be fun with a capital F-U. We don't have to pull the fender off, do we? We'll see how we can sneak that in there. Got the bed off. Big stretch. Pretty simple. Just got to do the fuel tank, filler neck. There's a ground strap over there. Right, Duff? Over there. And then the tail light. Connector. Oh, I did have to drop the spare tire. I've never seen a spare tire bracket on one of these. I mean, usually they're ripped off, and I can see why. This one's held on by number 9 wire, right, Quick Dick?
Until next time, this is Quick Dick McDick reminding you, a man will never get tired of pulling on his number 9 wire.
And then 8 bed bolts. Those came out surprisingly well. Look at them fancy new Monroe shocks. You can also see where the cab corners were. I think they were replaced before. Oh yeah, you can see where the metal overlaps. Yeah, point it out with your nose, Duff. And they didn't smooth out the body filler there real well. Kind of did that on both sides. Looks like they just slapped the old cab corner over the top of the, or new one over the old one. Hopefully they didn't go up too high when they did it compared to our new ones, so that we got nice new metal. Because that's what we want, right, Duff? I think we gotta take the seat belt out of here, or at least chase these wires and get those out of our way. Chin was so nice, he's got some inner rockers for us that go up into that. So hopefully we can get that all fixed up, right, Duff? Yeah, exactly. Not excited about it either. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. A lot of rust dust. Things are getting out of control. So I took the door off so that I could just get access to slam that outer rocker in there. And then the door pretty much follows that line and comes straight down to here. So I couldn't get in here to cut or clean up or weld or do anything. And that's obviously where the majority of the rust is on the rocker on this side. So I went and pulled the left front fender, and in the process couldn't figure out how the fender came off because there's about 964,000 bolts holding it on. And I couldn't get at these 2 bolts because Jimmy the body man had this nice galvanized sheet metal cover that was held in with tub and tile and sheet metal screws. Good stuff, huh, Duff? So now we're to the point where we're gonna start fitting some rocker panels. And what I like to do is cut these down so that they're not the full size, so that if you screw them up, we don't ever screw up here, do we, Duff? No comment. But if you screw them up, or this thing rots out again for the 964th time, you got material left to go with the next one. And then I like to hide the seams as much as you can. Like I said, I could have cut this one off here and seamed it there, which that part sucks, so I would never do that. Nobody ever should, but. So what I think I'm gonna do is trim this down a little bit narrower to where we got some solid material. I might even lob all of this off just so that that hole is gonna line up and stuff. And we'll try to do it where it's easy to weld and grind and stuff. Like it's a little chewy here, so we'll try to get past that. But it's just kind of a guessing game. Just live and learn. Learn from your mistakes. I should be one smart SOB. But the first thing we're gonna do, cut the outer rocker off, cut the cab corner off, because the cab corner is like the last thing to go on. It overlaps this area here. So it's cab corner, outer rocker, inner rocker, floor, and then cab support. In that order. So that's the way you gotta put it back together. Cab support, floor, inner rocker, outer rocker, cab corner. So I guess we're just gonna start cutting away. One thing, you want to make sure you put the door back on before you final weld the rocker, so that you make sure that this gap is good here. And then once you get that where you need it to be, then put the cab corner on last so that you can get this seam lining up real nice and pretty. I'd like to say easy peasy lemon squeezy, but it's not easy. Don't just start slicing away. think her out, you know, just sit down, have a sandwich, contemplate your life decisions, and figure out the best plan of attack. Don't screw it up. Or just grab yourself some galvanized tin and a couple of tubes of tub and tile and just smear in there. Right, Duff? Not impressed. What did we get ourselves into? Back at it. Good news is we got another pot of coffee going. And we got plenty of screwball, so. The lifeblood that fuels us.
It's the lifeblood that drives the dreams of champions.
So I took the old Eastwood SCT Contour, I don't know, it's a paint removal tool. They gotta give it a fancy name. Stripped down the paint, and I went to right where they'd replaced it the last time, because I didn't want to go up any higher than that, but I wanted to get rid of the shoddy old craftsmanship. Speaking of that, where is that cap? Oh, there it is. He just kind of trimmed out the rust and then just laid it right over the top of it. Real nice. And then I just ground in just far enough just to get to the inner cab corner, not taking any more material than I wanted. And the inner rocker is chewy, and we don't have one of those, so I don't know what we're gonna do there. If we're gonna wait and get one, probably not. We'll just probably grind her down, throw some primer on it, call it good. But I think Eastwood sells these too, or you can get them on Amazon. These little pry bars, cool tool of the week. You just smack on the end of them and it's good for knocking out spot welds. And we just whittled that down without chewing nothing up. Pretty dang good. Now we're gonna do the same thing, just keep rolling right on up the rocker. And you can tell I just kind of cut it out on the edge, not quite all the way over to the spot welds, and then we knocked them off later. And it's obviously a little bit more complicated when somebody's reworked it before, so you don't know what you got. You might have 2 layers of metal, you might just have 1 layer of metal. Just take your time, and you can always keep taking more off, so just start with light cuts, work your way through it. Easy peasy. So now we'll do the same thing here. I think I'll just do a slice along the bottom and then cut this a little bit lower than where the patch panel goes, which the patch panel goes like way up to here. It looks like way above, like 3 inches above this bump stop. And then we'll get to the inner rocker and floors and so on and so forth, but it didn't go too bad. Wish that inner was a little bit better shape, but I'll figure something out there. Keep on keeping on. Always wear your PPE. Stay safe. Probably should have a face shield, but Portia's not here. She's a nice lady though. Frickin' worked up a thirst on that one, but pretty close. We gotta get this cab support out of there. I think we're gonna have to knock, I don't know what this support tab thing is, out of there. in order to get the cab support out. And then we're ready to put it all back together. So what I did here for the floor pan, I just measured the pan that I have and added subtracted 2 inches so that I made sure I had plenty of material. The only part I'm kind of worried about is over in here. It's pitted, but we'll see what we can do. That's really all I got for a panel. Watch out for wiring and speedometer cables. Whoopsies. I'll just push that over there. It's fine. So we're gonna have to sneak that in there. I don't know what we're gonna do with this kick pan. We'll have to do some cleaning there. And then figure out how we're gonna do our cab support. Now once we get the cab support in, get that all cleaned up, we can start trimming panels and putting her back together. What a bunch of garbage, huh, Duff? What are you sniffing? Booger sugar? Hoover schneef? Oh, I can't smell nothing after all that dust. If your doors don't stay open like they're supposed to on these detents, it's probably because this spring's broke for all you square body kids out there. Got our floor pan in there. I think I'm just gonna leave it long back here. I did trim off a little up top just to make things easier, and then I don't have to work around the dimmer switch. It's all solid up there. And I did have to trim the lip that points down off a little bit over there, and then it just kind of slides underneath the kick panel over here and up tight against the kick panel there. And it does have part of the inner rocker on it, so we'll see where that goes. And then I took a paint marker and traced around it, so I'll clean all that up so I got a nice spot to weld. And then we'll seam seal it. But still got to do a bunch more fitting. The cab support, I got that on there and it looks like it fits all right, but I got to do a little more finagling around with that. So I think I'm going to pull this off, get that cleaned up, then get the cab support back in there, and then drop this in there, and then move on to the inner rocker. We're getting there. Slowly but surely.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
This is the part that sucks, fitting everything up. It just takes forever. Cut it, slide it in, pull it out, trim it, slide it in, mark it, pull it out, trim it. Measure once, cut twice, right? Something like that. Look at that. Going all out. Got the Clecos out even. Probably the third time in my life I've ever used them. Pretty handy if you never use one. Just get this handy dandy pliers here. You drill a 1/8 inch hole, and then you just take this little bugger and slip her through. Sucks her right up there. Pretty good. So you got the cab support in. It sticks a little bit ahead of this faux inner rocker. And the actual inner rocker goes ahead a little bit further. So I think what I'm going to do is try to get them to line up flush right along that seam where the Clecos are. Then I'm going to trim below it right in here on this piece and maybe have them overlap, and then sneak this ahead in there just to kind of try to hide the seam and not have the material doubled up right in here, because that's where the outer rocker slides over. So have them butt up to one another right here, and then have them overlap here. Maybe just have them butt up right there as well, and then have this material sticking off the front. The kick panel, I thought this wasn't lining up right. I thought this should be flush with the kick panel, but I checked on the other side and it actually comes in there a little ways. So That was just some crappy Chinesium parts, but it should be good to go. Got her clamped up there. Actually fits pretty decent. So now we gotta whittle away at this, get her to fit. Obviously we're not gonna go up that high. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we're gonna narrow it down in the back there, trim it, or else trim the back of the cab up. I think I'm gonna trim this down. Well, this is what we're concerned with right now, getting that to line up so we can get the outer rocker to slide over that. All right, keeping after it. What are you doing back there? Just staring at the door? It's rough being Duff. Oh yeah. Come over and get some pets. Come over and get some pets. Yeah. So pretty much got the inner rocker about finished. Well, I don't know about that. It's never finished, is it, Duff? And stuck the outer rocker on. It actually fits pretty good. Lines up with the bottom lip here for the inner rocker to the outer rocker pretty well. I gotta trim some excess up here. That floor pan inner rocker is a little bit longer than the actual inner rocker, so we'll even those off so that this sucks in a little bit better there. But everything lines up pretty good up there. And then back here as well. But like I said before, we got to hang the door on there before we final fit the outer rocker. So I might whittle this down just a little bit more just to get us within ballpark. Just wanted to make sure everything was going to fit up. Need to trim off that inner rocker there. And then probably cut this down a little bit here. Get us close. Same thing with this seam here. I like to keep my seams low so if you do screw up, you can get another panel and replace it. I already cut the front down here because the original one went up quite a bit higher here and it got into the door latch and stuff. We don't need to go up that high anyway. Getting quite the scrappage of new and used material. But yeah, we got our gap pretty good there for those two pieces. Got some nice clean metal to weld on here for the inner rocker. Like I said, keep the seam nice and low, and that way when you put the weather stripping on here, it'll hide pretty much all of it. So that'll be nice, and then the rest of this will be under the carpet, obviously. So really this seam and this seam are going to be the only two that you see when you open the door. Awesome. That actually didn't go too bad for overseas parts. Right, Duff? So I think I'll do a little bit more fitting, and then I'll have to get some help hanging these doors so I don't bang them up some more. And yeah, I'll be ready to start going back together in no time, right, Duffers? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We love body work. See, the old chin came over and helped me hang the door again so we could fit up the rocker panel. I guess I didn't show that, but got that fitted up so we know our inner rocker's in the right spot. Got that pretty much burned in there. Where these overlapped, I decided to cut that off and burn that together there. I did put a little sliver of a patch on the inside there. We gotta clean that up yet. Whoops, forgot to do that. Just so that there's something for the seam sealer to go up against. Same deal with that gap. We'll put seam sealer in there, and then these lap welds, and then we'll actually seam seal all of that, even though a lot of that ended up being a butt weld, but getting pretty close. Pretty much just down to fitting the rocker and the cab corner, which is the craptastic part. Ooh, I did get a new inner cab corner from Speedway Motors to replace this piece of garbage here, so I don't know how we're gonna do that. I think we'll get the rocker fitted and tacked and then come over to this, even though this goes underneath of it. But what do you think, Duff? You inspecting it? What do you think of that light? It's a pretty good light, huh? Works real good. Bodywork sucks. Hey, get a lava lamp and go check out Jaws B&C Performance. Is that what it's called? Anyway, he's building a gasser with a blown small block in a May the 4-speed be with you. Wrong hand, but yeah, right? Gasser? Should we build a gasser? Maybe this summer. Maybe next winter. Maybe never. He's building a 57 Chevy gasser in Hawaii. How cool is that? He's got a dog named Molly, but she doesn't get to come on the show like you, Duff. Get a lava lamp in your garage or shop or your house or your lean-to or your canopy or just wherever you work at, and then go subscribe. Jaws, all capital letters, like the shark. B and C Performance. Or just type in 57 Chevy Gasser Hawaii. You'll find him. Pretty cool guy. Well, I don't know about cool, but he looks like Forrest Gump, and he's building a gasser on an island, so I don't know about these things either. Healthy sandwiches. They're not healthy, but whatever. Yeah, let's get that rocker on. I know. I did not know how many times I've had this thing on and off. At least 2 dozen. But our gaps are pretty dang consistent. Just having some issue with the door touching the top of the rocker here, so we had to persuade the inner rocker down a bit. And then as I was doing that, I was kind of marking where I was at so I could tell if I was going down. So pretty much got her all. I think we're ready to start doing some tacking. I got to tap that in a little bit, but otherwise we got nice tight seam there. Nice tight seam there. Again, we'll have to work that in a little bit, but should be pretty good. And then we're gonna do the inner cab corner and the cab corner. I think I'm gonna do the cab corner and then fit the inner to the cab corner, because I don't have much faith in this thing being similar to what's on there at all. And there's no drain hole in there. Huh. Weird. So I just got it tacked in. I think I'm just gonna wait to finish weld it until after everything else is fitted in there. I got this finish welded back here where the rocker and the cab corner meet, and then I'll smooth that out because we're gonna need that for when we do the cab corner inner and outer and whatnot. Yeah, seems like it still fits after I welded it, so that's always a good thing. Measure twice. Measure once, cut twice. Tomato. All right, I think I'm gonna cut that inner cab corner out of there and then fit the cab corner itself. Once we get that close, then we'll go fit the inner cab corner. Hopefully that doesn't take like 4 days like this did. This is like a 196 sandwich job. Just kidding, you can do it. It's super easy. Just buy like $100 in patch panels, case of beer, you'll have it done in no time. Anybody can do it. If I can, pretty much anybody can. So similar to the other patch panels, I trimmed this one down a bunch, so that way if I screw up, I got room to buy another one, and I'm not cut too high on the cab. Ask me how I know not to do that, but got this one trimmed down, started fitting it up here, and I noticed that it's got that little lip down there, and that's not gonna allow us to mate up with the rocker panel. So we're gonna have to trim a little of that material out. We're still gonna have to trim it down because it's pretty high. And then I put these on before, and this radius is way sharper than this radius. So I don't know if I'm gonna rework it or try to blend them together, what we're gonna do, but that radius is real tight. This one, real sloppy. You don't want a sloppy radius. Look at this flippin' beaut. Took a DA to it just because it looks so much prettier when you do that. Of course, you can still see where my weld was, so you're gonna have to add a little bit of filler there, but that's to be expected. It is a little bit low there. That way you can add some filler. If it's high, you gotta either knock it down or it's gonna be noticeable. So you can see they've got some filler above that. The backside's actually real good. And that isn't so critical because that gets hidden by the box, but yeah, it came out really nice. The gap is consistent. It's wider than I'd like it to be, but that's just kind of how the whole gap is right there. So we stayed consistent and matches up with the rocker panel real nice. She's pretty good. Pretty much wrapped up with this side. Got these finish welded and smoothed off. I got to pull the door off to finish grinding those. Actually, they might be okay, but I'd like to pull that door off, clean that up a bit. Got a bunch of seam sealing to do, but we'll wait till we get pretty much the whole pickup done and then seam seal all of that. Got all our spot welds completed and ground down. So yeah, donezo. All wrapped up with the driver's side here. Well, the cab, still got to do the box and the inner fender. Damn it. It's like it never ends. Other side's gonna be a lot easier. We're just gonna drop a floor in and then just do partial rocker. Hopefully not get into the inner rocker. And I really want to stay out of the cab corner. It looks pretty good over there. But I think we'll set the pickup on the ground, spin her around. Maybe we'll just go do something else for a little while because I'm about sick of this thing. I think I started on, I don't know, what was it, Saturday, working on this thing. Didn't hit it real hard on the weekend. Hit it pretty good on Sunday. It's now Friday night, but Monday I didn't do anything, and then it was just an hour or two every night. So, I mean, I probably got, jeepers, I probably got 12 hours into this side, but we did a floor, inner and outer rocker, inner and outer cab corner, cab support. So there's a lot there. There's a lot to it. Obviously the other side's gonna go faster because there's less of it. We got all the tools out and we kind of got a plan of attack based on what we saw from this side. So real fun. Getting there. Came out good, so minty. Duff, what are you doing? You got the fleas again? Nah. Picking cackleberries out of my foot, ain't ya? So we're back to rocking the old Squarebody here. Big blue, old blue, blue balls, whatever. Rocking. Did you notice that? That's a knee slapper. So cut all the rust out. I think we're gonna have to do the inner rocker just because of the rot through there. And then by the time we get it cleaned up, there ain't gonna be a lot left. And she's a little squishy there too. And then we're gonna have to make a piece for right there. God, this was supposed to be the good side too. And then I got to looking at the cab corner, and you know, it's starting to bubble out here from the last time it was replaced. And the cab corner goes over the rocker panel, right, Duff? So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the cab corner on it because I got an extra one laying around. And that way it's gonna all be put together nice, not be spliced in the middle. I mean, who cobbles them together in the middle like that? Old car guy does. Anyway, and then I just didn't like the way they cobbled this on here the last time. Oh, they just kind of mudded her in there like that. So let's just fix it up like it's gonna be ours someday, Duff. Maybe we'll get lucky and it will be ours. Probably not, but. So anyhow, I'm gonna cut that cab corner out, finish cutting the rocker out, cut the inner out, and then we'll start fitting everything back together. It'll be good as new. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Well, I think we finally got all the rust cut out of there. We're gonna have to scuff that up a little bit. We'll throw some paint on it. Right, Duff? Just a little with a little primer or flat black, whatever. So it was pretty chewy in here. So what I did was I laid this patch panel in place where it needs to go. And I trimmed that panel off because it went way up into here, which we don't need. And it turns out we're gonna use that piece, fill this gap. I'll have to get creative and add that little rib in there. But that way it gets rid of most of the rust. It's still a little pitted up here, but she's way better than it was. You don't agree? What do you know about rust? So now that we got that fitted, I went underneath and I ran a marker over where all these cross members are. There's one there, and then there's the cab support and stuff, and then we'll drill some holes from the top. The reason that you want to drill holes from the top and plug weld it is that otherwise it gets like the tin canny. Every time you get in or hit a bump, it's gonna rattle like that. So you put those plug welds in there so it don't oil can on you. Oil can, that's what I was thinking of. Oil cans. I don't collect oil cans. I got some. Here we go. So I flatten this piece out. I'm gonna cut that off in the shear to like 1 5/8 wide. That'll leave us a little bit of material to grind down and fit this in there. And then, yeah, then we'll be able to move on to the inner rocker, and so on and so forth. I don't know if I'm gonna burn that in right away or just start getting stuff fitted up. Sometimes you gotta take it back apart to fit the next piece. Kind of like this. I don't want to weld this in place until I get this all fitted up because we might need to take it apart. Plus we gotta take it apart to drill those holes. I'm I'm probably doing it the wrong way, but whatever. Ooh, and I do have new inner fenders on order because I don't want to fix that, and I can get the pair for $200 shipped. Seems like a lot of money, but this just wasn't going to be any fun to fix. I should look up a battery tray. That isn't too bad, but since we're this far, we should probably just do it right. Yeah, it's super nice outside today, so the Duff dog is not impressed that we're inside. But that's how she goes. This piece didn't line up with this rib here real well. Is another reason I kind of didn't feel bad cutting it out. But it fit pretty good up here, actually. Those ribs they never seem like they really want to line up. We'll get her. Keep whacking on it. Whack it.
Ain't you them kids that have been whacking off in my tool shed?
Look at that. Gotta do a little trimming yet, but smashed her flat, stuck it in the vise, got her little rib in there. So I think what I'm gonna do is fit it to this piece first on the bench, and then we'll sneak it in here and get the rest fitted up after that. That seemed like a good idea. I'm sure I'm doing it wrong, but we gotta pull this out anyway, and then drill all these holes for where our spot welds are at, just so I could do it in place. No, I couldn't, because I don't know where everything's at, so I marked it underneath. But yeah, sneak that out of there, get this fitted to it, and then we just gotta weld it to that. Hopefully I can get it a real nice fit, so then I can just burn her in on the bench, and then we'll fit this piece after we get it on there. Hopefully don't blow through and hit that fuel tank. Match in the gas tank, boom boom.
Match in the gas tank. Boom, boom.
Look at how sweet this is fitting up. They're all lined up pretty good. There's a little bit of a gap in there, but put some seam sealer in there. Should be good to go. This all lined up pretty good. Won't have to squeeze that together a little bit. We'll get this all tacked in and start making this piece here. We'd actually fit the inner rocker first. That way we know just what we got to make here, because I think that inner rocker goes up that a little ways, so we might not need to make too much of that sliver right there, but I want to get it tacked in place while I can still get at both sides there. Yeah, cross members lined up pretty good underneath all those holes. Fits way good. Hey, look, got the door on. Yay, we're almost done. Had to hang out with the cherry picker because Duff's at the spa. No, we're not anywhere close to done, but I had to get that door on so I could figure out where this rocker panel sits. Gotta bring her down just a skosh in the front. And I think we'll be all right, but like I said, I wanted to make sure everything was gonna be close before we did that. So I think we're gonna be close enough. I'll pop the rocker off, finish up the floor in the inner rocker, and then we'll get this rocker done and wrap her up at the cab corner. Sweet. Tech tip of the day: if you're a loser and don't have any friends, get your cherry picker, hang your door. Didn't go too bad, actually. Nobody died. We got our inner rocker slammed into place. Now we got this big gaping hole here. So save your sandwich boxes, kids. They make great templates. So now we just transfer that to maybe the chunk of material that we cut off of this inner rocker that we didn't need. Put that in there, burn her in. Got a couple of holes to fill here yet. And then I gotta finish welding that floor piece down, but then we'll be ready to put the rocker on. And we're on the home stretch for the cab part anyway. Just gotta do the cab corner. And then we're gonna have to address the door. That's not gonna be fun. Is it, Duff? You don't want to show everybody your new haircut? Such a pretty puppy. There we go. Went back to the Beverly. Well, not the Beverly. The Chinesium knockoff that we got from Amazonia. Whittled that out. Hit her quick with the buffing wheel so that we get some nice clean edges. I think we'll burn her in place. I think I'll start at these tightest corners and then just kind of hammer and dolly it. Work her around. Try to get it as flush as we can. But yeah, I think it'll fit pretty good. So after having this thing on and off, I don't know how many dozens of times, you got to pretty much fit it up. Got a nice gap along the bottom. The way I check my gap is these sweet Milwaukee Mark Salt pens got a little bit of a taper in the end, so you just line up that taper and you can keep an eye on it, on where the pen is at, as you slide it up that gap. The problem is, the way this rocker panel is stamped, it's kind of got a smile to it, so it's a little bit lower in the bottom than it is on the ends, and there's really nothing we can do about that other than just live with it, basically. That's just the way it's stamped. I mean, I could cut it all apart and rework it, but it's going to be good enough for what we got going on here. So I drilled a bunch of spot weld holes in the rocker panel here, so we'll plug weld those in, weld it to the inner cab support here, and then we'll weld her in the door jambs here as well. Pretty simple. Got a couple clamps here, a couple on the bottom to that inner rocker, and then a couple on this lip clamping it to the door jambs. And I did take and spritz a little black paint in there to try to prevent any rust on that inner rocker where we had spliced it together with the floor pan and such. I did have to trim the bottom of the floor pan rocker part up here. And then obviously I cut this rocker down so that it's not the full height. And yeah, just a lot of putting it on, trimming it off. Oh, and then this inner rocker's got a lip that kind of, it stops right about here, but there's a lip that comes in here and it touches the outer rocker, so I had to trim that off so that this would sit in there flush. But this side actually fits better than the other side. The other side the door was wanting to hit. So I guess here we go. Start burning her in place. I think I'm going to start welding on the top because this is clamped pretty good. And I can move it around a little bit at the top here. I want to push it into place. There's not really a good way to clamp it up here. So, all right, I'm going to fire up the welder. Got some 23 wire in it now. That works way better than the old 030 stuff. So, here we go. Cab corner is in, metal finished. Inspector's here to take a look. Stamp of approval. Got the rocker in there. He says that looks good as well. So I'm gonna take this door off so I can finish welding and grinding the front of the rocker here. But I think I'm sick of those stupid boxes just hanging out over there in the way of my television that I sit and stare at for hours on end now. And in those is the inner fenders. I was gonna fix these. I'm not gonna anymore. What's out there? Smell the door. You door smeller. Yeah, tell me what you really think. Anyhow, I think we'll rip these off of here. We just got to take that jack off of there and then a handful of bolts to the firewall and to the radiator support here, even though it's really not held onto that anymore. And that side will be off. This side, we got the cruise control in our way. That's about it. So I think we'll pop those off quick so we can huck them outside and get those boxes out of the way. We'll have to take that door off again with this sweet rig, so let's set up the tripod. Tripod time. Woo! There you have it. Still got to mount the jack back on that side, but 2 inner fenders replaced. Bad news is, found out the core support's all rusted out on that side. Should have known better. So we got the passenger door off of the old 78. Oh, I did stick the fenders and hood and all that good stuff back on. Oh, you want in the Camaro? Oh, you rolled in a bunch of deer poop. That's awesome. Go get the deer poop in the Camaro. And the reason I got it off, there's a little bit of rust here, bubbling through, a little more there. So I think we're gonna strip the paint off, see just what we got in there. But I got a skin, and I think it's gonna need it because she's pretty chewy in there. So I think we're gonna strip the paint off first and see just how far we gotta get up into this thing. I can see a ridge right here. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but it looks like he welded a section onto the door the last time. Great. Oh man, he's got the filler laid in thick there. Well, I thought that was a dent there, but just some shoddy body work. So, thinking right now, we'll put our new panel in, you know, kind of similar to this, go up higher than this, and it's going to come over and drop down, or maybe we'll come at an angle, come over and down, or something like that. Not really sure, but I want to go all the way across here and see just how bad the rust is over in here and see if we come across any more bad spots. But I think what we'll do is just kind of do that piece and then do like 1.5 inches up across the whole bottom here, because clearly there's some more rust issues. Looks like it's pretty solid metal we're getting into. I do see a little bit of rust right in there, but nothing too crazy. As long as we get rid of that stuff, we should be good. So here's another big issue we got to address. This thing is just really bubbling apart and splitting out, so we'll have to cut this bottom lip off of the outer skin, and then we'll see what we can do to clean this up, or if we gotta weld a new piece on it. I ordered an inner door because it's got some pinholes down here, but it's not here. And I ordered it 9 months ago. So yeah, and maybe once we get into this, we might have to get one from a different vendor if we could find one, because it's looks like it's going to be pretty chewy. So the way we're going to get this lip off is we're just going to take a grinder and we're just going to slowly go across the bottom here until we get through this outer door panel, and then we'll just peel this piece off, and then on the outside we'll cut it down to where we need to cut it. And I guess that's the way we'll get this out of the way and then address that inner door skin. So we got that lip peeled off from the outer skin, and you can see just how chewy this front corner is. You can actually see this is the old rusty part of the door, and then this is the patch the last guy put on. So you gotta get that out of there, and then we gotta replace this lip for sure right here. Oh, you can see the Bondo in there even, so we're probably gonna have to come up into here a ways. This actually isn't that bad. Never mind, she's pitted pretty good. So I don't know what we're gonna do here. I might look into a door skin and see just how long it's gonna take to get here, because this is all gonna have to come off and it's not gonna be fun to make it from scratch. And then, like I said, this corner, she's pinholed up. That I could make, just bend a 90, put it in the shrinker stretcher, go around that corner. But by the time we do that piece, and this whole lip up here in that back corner, I just don't know where we quit. See what we can come up with. This might have to wait. Start working on the bed until we get new parts here. What's in there? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we stuck the front clip on, got the hood adjusted pretty good. Fenders, we're gonna have to wait to adjust till the doors are on, then we might have to readjust the hood because the hood aligns with the fenders, so on and so forth. Get a Camaro, dogs love them. I did shoot a little primer on all the bare metal just to kind of seal it up for now. I don't know what his plans are, where it's gonna go. I didn't prime the floor pans yet because I want to put some seam sealer in there, and I wanted to wait to put seam sealer on until we got the bed and the door and everything all ready, and then seam seal it all in one shot, so that way you only get the seam sealer on your hands one time, because that stuff's almost as bad as anti-seize where you get it on absolutely everything. We're done with the anti-seize, and then once we get everything seam sealed, we'll put a quick shot of primer on it. I don't know if we're gonna have to do any seam sealer on the box stuff, but really that's all that's left with the cab is to seam seal it and then stick the door back on it. So now we're gonna move to doing the bed and finish the door. I got an inner patch panel ordered for the door coming out of Illinois, so hopefully that's here sometime mid next week. But for now I think we're gonna kick this thing out of here, store it away, and then roll the bed in, get started on that disaster. So let's fix the rust in the inner on this door and kind of drew an outline here with the black marker of doom. And she's pretty pitted up to here, and I wanted to stay close to this bend line so that I got some rigidity there so it's not flexing, so you're not like in the middle of a flat panel. And then I stay low, so if I do screw something up, I can always get another new panel. The other thing is, this panel doesn't have this knockout hole, doesn't have these vents here. So if we can stay below all that stuff, that'll be good. So follow along here, and then of course here's our worst spot. Well, not our worst spot, but we got some rust through. So stay along that edge up to here. And then right here you can see those spot welds. Just so the window comes down, there's a couple of spot welds there. That's like your window stop. So I wanted to stay away from that. And then I think what we'll do here is we'll just come straight down and then we'll nip this outer part. Nip that a little bit and then peel this open. And then slip this in here and then we'll pound it back over because it's not really that rusty on the outer up to there. But we'll see when we get to that point. We can always replace that outer as far up as that panel goes. But I want to try to retain as much of that OG steel as we can. But she's pretty pitted in here, so we're going to cut that out with the whizzer. You want to get after that, Duff, or what? Man, you're a lot of help. Alright, so we kind of got this fit up. I left it a little bit long here, so we'll nip it pretty close and just kind of work our way up to it. That, or you can get everything clamped in place where you want it to be and then cut right through both layers at the same time. Either way, not sure what I'm going to do. I like doing as little cutting as possible, so maybe we'll get everything fit up here and we'll just nip it off. Get it in one shot, cut through that and the door. I don't know yet. This panel flexes a bit, and so does this panel that it's clamped to, the outer panel. So everything's going to have to kind of be worked into place. You can see it's right where it needs to be. Once you move it a little bit, I frickin' had a boner move and kept cutting when I should have stopped right here. So I'm gonna have to trim that off, and then I didn't have a good measurement for where this was at, so I left this long, so I need to trim that inside piece off, the patch panel. And then the same thing up here, I left this long, so I'll trim that up. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, if I'm going to whittle that down, or if I'm going to get everything tacked in place and then cut it off. Duff's not much help, he's out watching cars drive by. So, pick away at it, see what I decide. Well, after like a 2-month hiatus, we're finally back working on this Squarebody. I'm sick of working on it. I'm sick of looking at it. I'm sick of filming it. Just sick of everything. So I got the other side done. Actually did the rear panel and the front panel on that side. You can see where the new paint is. Then I did the floor support as well. You can see working on it here. So these are like 1 inch narrower than this trash that you buy online. So I just slid it down the middle, overlapping it, pinch it together. I'll tack it in place and then weld it up there. The other side, this inner wheelhouse piece was pretty good shape. This side was just pretty chewy, but you kind of got to have it to get everything lined up. So whatevs. There's a little surface rust down here, but I think that'll clean up. Yeah, we're gonna bang this thing out. Gotta finish doing those 2 floor supports. Gotta fix a couple rust holes in the floor. These guys here. But yeah. We'll maybe show it to you later. She's looking pretty good. I'm sick of this thing. Did I tell you that? Yeah. I'm sick of Bondo dust. Oh, this guy who just did this thing. I mean, you can see where the metal's doubled up. He just lapped it over and slathered just a ton of mud in right here and went all the way over. It's unfortunate. This thing needs box sides to be done right, but he wants it done. And it wasn't supposed to be this bad. Well, it is. You could see, yeah, all those layers of metal. He lapped it over like 3 inches, then he kind of seam sealed it and undercolored it. Sketchy body, man. Awesome. All right. I'm going to get this wrapped up in here, these box supports, and then get this finished fitted, and then do the floors, and we're done with the box, and then he can come put the box on. And this thing can go hasta luego. Sayonara, hasta la vista. So long. Hepatitis, see you later.
Hepatitis, see you later!
Yeah. Bye-bye. Glad to say we are on the home stretch of this thing. Done welding. Hopefully. Just gotta put the bed on, tailgate on, hook the lights up, fuel filler neck, all that. So here's the panels I was talking about earlier. These rotisseries are handy. Thanks a lot, Mr. Case IH, for loaning me this thing. So you can see they cut it off right there. You can see the mud's pretty thick there, and they just scabbed a big piece in and wrapped her around right there, and the mud is really thick back here. So I don't know what his plans are for body guy or paint or whatever, but not my problem. So I bought one of these patch panels that for the bed floor. Well, the ribs are narrower than the factory ribs, so you'd have to cut them, widen them, or cut that one long and then cut this one long and then splice the two together. You could piss around forever, but need to seam seal that corner yet, but they're in. It'll be good enough for the girls I go with. Yeah, this one went pretty good. Got a little deep there, so I put a little mud, and again, that arc coming over, but came out pretty good. He's gonna have to put a little filler in there, and then yeah, we didn't have to do the front on this side because it's just a little surface rust. So yeah, I'm gonna call him up. He's got the pickup, and he painted the frame and did all the seam sealing, because I said, if you want to do that, you can, because he was getting kind of impatient, because like I said, this thing's been sitting here for 2 months dormant, and been here for I don't know how many months. We're coming on like probably 9 months. This thing's got to go. She's got to go, right, Duff? So yeah, I'm gonna set the bed on and finish a couple things up. We'll do a walk around, and this thing is done. No more bodywork projects for Mortske. Ah, crap. We still got a Model A project that we took on, some cab corners on a Squarebody grain truck. But yeah, and then we're done. And then it's just mechanic work. Okay? Duff agrees. He doesn't like seeing me like this. But let's have a celebratory sandwich. Are we still calling them those? Because, ooh, we got one old style left. These things are good. Thanks to the guy in Johnson Creek, Wisconsin that sent them. I mean, he definitely did not send them through Federal Express, because that's unapproved. Old World Methods, classic lager. Choicest hops, sparkling pure spring water. Oh yeah, that is good stuff. So, see you in a bit. What do you think about this square body, Duff? Should we get back to working on it? Lawnmower man. He says we should. Sweatshirt season again, though. Duff, did you have a good nap? Should we show the good folks on the lube tube what we got going on here? As you guys probably just saw, we got the bed set in place. You know, that was like 4 days ago. As you can see, I'm already filling it up with the jack that I tore the wheel off of, and the weed eater that Chin gifted me now that it's snow season. So we're pretty much ready to wrap this thing up. Gotta wire up the taillights, gotta hook up the fuel filler neck, suck the bed down, bolt the seat down, put the tailgate on. And then this thing can skedaddle. Right, Duffel up, I guess? Owner was just here. He's gonna go take it to a paint shop and see if that guy can reuse these trim pieces that I took off. I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, obviously they're gonna have to come off for paint. I don't think I'm gonna put this trim back on because the paint guy's gonna have to take that off. Same deal with this rock guard on the other side. And then he's also gonna put carpet and stuff in it after it's painted, so no point putting the sill plates and that stuff in at this time either. I'm freaking sick of this thing. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be more chipper, everybody says. Oh yeah, we can't watch you because you're angry all the time. Because guess what? I'm a real person and not a paid actor, so we're just gonna get at this. I'm gonna crawl underneath it. I'm gonna go ahead and put all them bolts on underneath the bed and hook up that wire, and hopefully I don't get nothing in my eyes. And then we're gonna hook up the fuel filler neck and the vent tube and all that, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time. Oh yeah, while we had her off. Why am I talking like I'm from the South? Because I'm happy. People in the South is happy, ain't they, Duff? He painted the frame black because I told him, I said, no better time than the present to do that. So we're gonna go ahead and show you that from here until Duff gets in the way. But yeah, take my word for it. Frame and diff, and oh, he didn't paint the diff. He painted the springs. Maybe he painted the diff. I don't know. He didn't paint the drive shaft. He didn't paint over his Monroes, but the frame is blackish. And he came over and seam sealed underneath this thing as well. And he needs to put some seam sealer under there. He missed that spot and that spot as well. All right. You go underneath. Put those 1/2-inch nuts on and bolt the bed down. I think there's 8 of these carriage bolts underneath there. They all came off really good. So knock on wood. Hopefully they go together good. Who's here now? Oh, the fastest thing in town. Oh, no, it's a substitute bus driver today. Oh, Bucky, he really whips her by when he goes by. We're gonna run Mower Man over one of these days. We're gonna get to it. Not much to show here. We'll be back in a second. It's all gonna be back together, right? Once Duff finds me the hardware. Where's the hardware? Go find the hardware. So we got seat bolted back in. Duff, what are you doing? Opening doors. You gotta learn how to close them too. No, you don't go jump on Alfred's seat. So he painted the inside here too with a brush, old man things. And he didn't want to scratch up his brush painting before the carpet comes in, so he found this remnant of insulation there. Again, old man things. Watch out, Duff. Oh yeah, we did the PVC fix on these doors too, because we're all about that life. Way better. Bed's bolted down. Tailgate's back on, so I'm not tripping over that every time I gotta go to the bathroom or put the jack stands away. Taillights are hooked up. License plate lights are hooked up. Bed's bolted down. Fuel filler necks hooked up, installed, caps on, yada, yada, yada. That is a wrap. So there you have it. You guys want to see some other stuff? There's some other stuff. Bodywork, it sucks. And I'm not even doing bodywork. I'm just doing sheet metal work on this thing, or did sheet metal work. I don't like doing the filler part, the painting part. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever painted anything other than maybe like a race car, a derby car. Done a little bit of filler work, and I never got it painted after I did it because I got burned out at that point. And I couldn't tell you a good guy that does it, because paint guys, like electrical engineers, they're a little bit different, huffing too many fumes. So yeah, we did a lot of work on this thing, spread it out over a long time, so this video is just all over the place. So if you watch to this point, I appreciate it. We had to do this one so that we could save the shop. We usually don't do customer work, and we're done doing customer work because I hate doing customer work because it gets drug out and it's long, and I feel like I don't charge enough, but I feel like at the same time I charge them too much. Anybody who's done work for people before knows what I mean. I feel bad charging people, but at the same time, my time's worth something. So we're kicking this 78 out here. Hope the Silver Fox enjoys it. Hope he finds a body guy that doesn't think my work's too awful terrible. I don't think it is, but it's hard to find guys that want to do this old stuff. They just want to do late model deer hits and hit and runs and fender benders and such. They don't want to do this old stuff because this is going to be kind of a big project. I don't know if they're going to be able to blend it. I think they should be able to get the right guy, but might need to be all repainted. Who knows? All right, no more rambling. We're kicking this thing out of here. On to the next one. What are we going to work on next, Duff? It's going to be winter time. Gonna have to bring it inside. Quit looking at that door like you're gonna get a ride. You're all swampy and this thing's way too nice for you. All right, appreciate it. Thanks for watching up to this point. Go check out my other videos. Go check out the merch down below if you haven't. If you want to be Duff approved, get some behind the scenes action of the cool stuff we do around here, like chase birds, go for rides. Oh, birds, you like that word? Go for rides. Go check that out down below. And we've got a Patreon account if you want to support the channel so we can get some more cool projects, keep cycling things through, and so we don't lose the shop. All right. This one we're punching out. Remember, doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. I can smile and lie because that was not fun doing all that stuff. Should we go for a ride? All right. Not in this one, though. We'll get a different one.